listen to fall to the floor.
Welcome back to another pen talk. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be revisiting for the third time a pen I fell in love with when I first got it, the Jinhao 992. I love the transparent colors. I love the nibs, but they had a problem with leaking. So we're going to take you through what I have tried to avoid the leaking, and also to explore some more in depth some of the details of this interesting, extremely affordable writing instrument. This is the first Jinhao 992 that I eyedroppered, the clear one. I put KWZ Azure number 4 in it, and it seemed to be okay, but then I took it to a meeting. I was out and about all day, and it leaked pretty badly. You can see some of the ink residue still there where that plug is in there, and you also see the cracking, which I've seen on other Jinhaos. So I'm going to pull the plug out, see what I can do to fix it, 'cause I really do like this as an eyedropper. It's a shame that it has these issues. Some effort to get it out, but I did pry it out. As you can see, the ink went through the cracks in addition to getting past the plug. So I may glue just that whole end and see if that'll fix it. Ink from the section, you have to take the whole thing apart because ink gets between this collar and the section, which screws in. What I find interesting about this section is it has the Jinhao logo molded into this piece of the nib assembly and this very small O-ring at the bottom, which is a great feature, really seals that in place. And the other thing that I noticed is this feed, which is typical of the injection molded feeds, actually has 2 channels in it, which is nice. Some of the other ones I've seen only have 1. So that probably is one of the reasons for the increased flow, at least the increased flow that I find with this assembly. So it's very easy to reassemble. We'll just align the nib and the feed, find out where it keys into place. And as you can see, that feed goes right into this assembly. Everything fits cleanly. It's only one place for it to fit together. And then this screws into the section. And you have your O-ring here. You have your O-ring up here. So that's, for a $2 pen, that's an incredible amount of interesting added features there that make the pen nicer. Except I wish this feed was clear, but, well, for $2 you can't have everything. And you can kind of see the Jinhao logo there through the section. Very well. After much thought and experimentation, I now have my clear 992 in a working eyedropper, and the cracks are now covered with a silicone adhesive. They said it was clear. It's a little cloudy, not as crystal clear as I had hoped. And I applied it coming down the barrel this way, and as soon as you touch the sidewalls, it stuck. So I figured do the whole thing and give it kind of that textured look. You know, not an attempt to do a antique glass or crazed glass as it kind of looks like, but this will work. The brown version has held up very well, no issues. This has been inked up for almost 2 weeks, so I think if we would have any issues that have showed up by now. So that one will stay. This one has the cracks. And what I might do is pop the plug and fill this one from the back. I now have another glue, which is supposedly going to be crystal clear. And I want to use these as eyedroppers, so therefore I'm going to go through that process. And also, as we can see here on the green one, you also have some cracking. So if I want to use this as an eyedropper, I'm definitely going to have to do something to address that interesting flaw. This is another glue that I got. You can never have too much glue. I've used other Gorilla glues in the past, and I find them to be very nice. In this case, I popped the insert out of the bottom of the barrel and filled it from the bottom up. It is a nice clear filling there, covering all the cracks. Going to let it set, do my best to work out all the bubbles, make certain that it coats everything inside nice and evenly, and let it set for a couple days, because it's not going to be something that's going to cure overnight, and there's no rush on this one. And it probably will preclude from using this as a cartridge converter, but my intention is to eyedropper these. That's why I got them, and I enjoy having a lot of ink in there that you can see sloshing around and not looking at a converter. We'll give you an update when this one is filled. I have 3 of the Jinhaos as eyedroppers, 2 of which I had to do some corrective action, and the third one I didn't. I just wanted to show that even when you put the converter in, there's still a decent space at the top. And if you take a look at the one that I filled with the clear glue, you can see there's space to use the converter even with the glue. So it doesn't detract from that. These have been working well. This is the one I filled from the bottom with the clear glue. This is the one I used that silicone adhesive that I tried to come in from the top of the barrel, and obviously made a little bit more of a artistic statement than I wanted to do. But both of these work very effectively, and for a pen for less than $2, that's pretty nice. One of the things I wanted to point out is this is a Sailor Pro Color, which amazingly, when I start to look at it closely, has the same plug at the bottom of the barrel that the Jinhaos do. So that's quite surprising. Wouldn't use this as an eyedropper because the section is a lot of metal in it. But that's not something I expected to see. I thought maybe that was something, and if you look closely, you might see some cracking there. So they really did copy it, with some very minor changes to it. So let's just do one quick writing example of these 3 pens I've inked up, just so you can get a feel for what I think is one of the best under $2 pens I've ever had. Quick writing of the 3 Jinhao 992s I have inked up. They work well in the hand without posting. This section feels good to me. They post without any real change, so those people that like to post can post, and if you don't want to post, you don't need to post. I mean, this is smooth, consistent, wet, and you can pull a little bit more flow out of it if it's not wet enough for you. So this is the first one I started writing with. I was really amazed. It produced a wow. The next one I inked up, I didn't do anything to the plug. This is before I realized that the plugs could leak and there could be cracks, but this one has performed well for well over 2 weeks. This is Roher and Klinger Sepia. I wanted a color that I thought, kind of went with the pen. This is also very smooth. You know, it's just a nice writer. One that you can use for a long time. Works well in the hand. So let's go to the third pen that I just inked up, that I put the clear plug in the back. And I went with another ink, Raher and Klinger Alt Gold Grun. When I first got this ink, I was really amazed with it. I loved the way that it shaded, and it was a very unique green color. I haven't used it as much, so that's why I'm happy to fill this pen up with a couple milliliters and put it in my daily rotations and use it. This is probably the least favorite nib, but the other ones are just nice. I mean, if this was the only 992 that I ever experienced, I'd still be very happy with it. Just has a little bit of tooth to it. I might smooth it a little bit more. I smoothed all of these nibs, just a little bit of smoothing. In fact, let me do that now. This is the smoothing board I've been using for over a year. So I'm just going to do a slight pattern on the rough side, and then we'll go to the medium side for a similar type of pattern. Now we'll flip it over, and some people only use this very fine side, which is like a 1200 mesh, some people refer to it, or, you know, in the micro mesh family. So after we did that, let's see how the nib works. It is smoother. And I think it's actually gotten a little wetter, which is nice. So that's what's good about these, is you can play around with them. You know, a lot of people may not be comfortable smoothing nibs, but, you know, spend $1 for a board that a lot of people use for nails, and give it a shot. So I'm going to go back to the original pen. So hopefully you've enjoyed this voyage with me with these interesting new pens out of China. You know, they've definitely utilized some of the techniques in manufacturing that they learned from probably making the Sailor Pro Color, and now they're making their own, and they did a good job. So thank you for watching. May you all have great writing experiences. Enjoy ink, pen, and paper. Enjoy your day. Bye.